Welcome to Are We the Only Ones? I'm Kathy, and today
Hi.
I am joined again by the esteemed Dr. Vandana Arcot. Welcome.
Hi, Kathy. How are you?
Good. I'm happy to make it down to Christmas, and I have broken the news. Oh my God. Do your kids believe in Santa or
No,
not?
no, not really, no.
Did
They
you
saw
break it
me
to them?
wrapping presents once.
And they're too smart.
No, it's not about smart. I just feel bad that that bubble is gone. It's a sign that they're growing up. But I think the young ones still hold some magic. But we don't do the elf on the shelf
Right.
thing. We have friends who do the elf on the shelf thing, and then as boys I think they just grow up um not wanting to believe in Santa a lot more faster than girls. I believe in Santa. I don't know where my gifts come from.
Well, the way we used to do it is that we would have no gifts, and then all of a sudden, Christmas morning, gifts. So it made it even more impactful because it went from 0 to 100. So then
Yeah.
they just thought, I remember going, oh, there's no way you guys could have done it. So it
Yeah.
has to be Santa because there's no way you could have gotten all that done. So
Yeah.
there has to be Santa. So I was like, cool. But then Eric decided, going into 11 years old, sixth grade, he didn't want him to be the only one that maybe didn't know. And so we had to break, we popped that
Where's the bubble?
So I felt bad, and then I asked him, do you think we should do that for your brother? Should we wait now that you know, or should we do that at the same time? And he was
Mm.
like, no, I think you should wait because nobody in school talks about it. And so I would have never known. So maybe a little bit longer would have been nice. So then now I feel terrible because he's in on it, right? But it's like there's been a couple almost slip ups where
Uh-huh.
he like kind of figured it out because he had said something to him about like how Santa would couldn't possibly still be alive. Like just like, So then it was like all that it took for to be, oh yeah, he figured it out. But then later he said something where I realized he had not figured it out completely. Like he had just thought
Mhm.
about it, but he hadn't actually like landed on
The fact that Santa may not be real,
right.
and I say may not.
Right. So because there's still magic in Christmas that you see sometimes like, how did this get here? Right. So I feel like I want to hold out to a certain extent, but now I'm having conversations where it's like, we have open dialogue with Santa. Santa has
Mm.
told us that he doesn't think that maybe we should really go all out with you guys this year because maybe you won't appreciate it. And like we have a conversation like that, and the kids are like, oh, we only want two things anyways. So then it's like, oh, okay, we now need to figure out how we want to do it because what is the right amount of abundance? What is the wrong amount
Of
of
abundance. It's a good problem to have in that we're discussing how much abundance you want to share.
right?
It's a good problem to have. I would put that along with hope. I think Santa, along with the Tooth Fairy, along with elves on shelves, all of that it just puts hope
Well,
in
one of
big bold letters that there's something out there.
yeah,
It's like religion, or therapy. It always gives us another perspective of what else is out there that could give us a positive reinforcement in life, away from and takes us away from the minute details that bring us down or bog us down in our everyday lives. I
yeah,
think that's what it is.
yeah. But also, like, it's funny because okay, the one thing that so I told them, I said, oh, if you aren't good, you get coal. And then I said, what would you do if you got coal? And he goes, oh, well, that's okay because coal you put into the fireplace, and then you just warm everything up. And that's
Yeah.
okay. And I was like, oh, that's a very good way of looking at. That's a great perspective.
Yeah.
And, so then Eric ends up buying cold candy. So we're gonna give them cold, but they're chocolates. And they're gonna get coal in their stocking, and we're gonna see and then we'll actually have, like there's gonna be gifts from us, but
Yes.
we're gonna transition them kind of like, a little bit of coal for the like, a little bit whatever, and just see how they are, and then that obviously, they're gonna get what they wanted. It's just, there's always the debate of, like, Santa being the person who gave you the most expensive gifts, or you being the person that gives your children the most expensive gifts, so it's like those
So
debates.
for us, Santa has never given them the most expensive gifts. It's always been us, and it's been made very clear that it's from us or from their grandparents because Santa is universally quite anti-technology, and he expects people to play with the soccer ball outside on summer days and not sit with the Xbox.
No, so clearly that was
I'm
us.
like, "Oh, you didn't play tennis today with the tennis racket that Santa gave you. How come?" No, but I think there is a wide net for us as parents to actually instill in the kids during the season that it's not about the gifts.
Yeah.
It's always about the empathy and the sympathy and everything else that goes with it. Because gifts, anyone can buy something from the store and give. It takes a lot to actually know what the person wants and to be a good gift. I'm a good gift giver.
Mhm.
I know you are a good gift giver.
I can be.
Yeah,
It's hard.
depending on whether we like the person or not.
Well, my culturally, Asian culture, you just give money. So I had to learn to become a gift giver in America because you have to actually think about it in America.
Yeah.
Whereas in Asian culture, Chinese, Vietnamese, it's just money in a red envelope. That's the gift because you don't the culture is like, we don't wanna make you have to, like, return it, go through the hassle, or figure like, you obviously know what you want. Here's just money, no big deal. I think Japanese do the same. It's just, "Here's money, keep it easy, no big deal." But Western culture wants you to think about it, and it considers
Mm.
giving cash kinda cold, like, not thoughtful.
How does gift giving how did gift giving come into your
Definitely Christmas. My mom's clients gave so many Christmas gifts that when I would come, I would like Christmas was like See's candy all under the tree and a ton of gifts from all the clients. And so my mom had those gifts under the tree. And then sometimes her clients would give us gifts as her, knowing that we were her kids. So then we would get gifts like tangentially from her, like through her by proxy
Mm.
kind of thing. And so that's when I realized like, oh, this is just us selfless, like they don't know us. It's just like it's just and it was a lot of gifts, right? So I'm talking like maybe like 75 gifts, like a lot of gifts.
Wow.
So it was brought into my life like that. And then also seeing how because I grew up in like Los Altos now is considered the like 1%, almost maybe 1% of the 1% in Silicon Valley. Although there's also like Atherton, which is definitely that. Um, so the parties they would give also were very extravagant. So I got to see how you entertain in a very complete way. You have like, you know, set like beautiful place settings, like everything's decorated, the food is really thought out. You have like we had like game nights that we would go to people's houses, and but they'd be like multiple families. And then I'd see gifts being exchanged there also outside of Christmas. And then for me, it was mostly just birthday gifts. So that's when I would really see it. But again, my family was always busy working. So
Mm.
eventually what would happen was like they would just have like for Christmas, my parents would give the us kids money to go buy our own gifts and then we would wrap them and then the surprise came when my parents got to see what we got. And it was kind of like their way of getting to know like what we liked. So one year I bought myself all snowboarding gear. And they were like, "Oh, you're going snowboarding with that?" Like and they were kinda like, "Oh, we wouldn't have wanted you to go snowboarding, that's scary, like, we don't want you to get hurt." But "Oh, you're into snowboarding?" Like, "Yeah, yeah, this is like you got me. Thank you for the snowboarding jacket." And they're like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
thank
god.
you for the snowboarding pants and the boots. Oh, okay." Like, that's like so sometimes it's funny, like, I still have not gone shopping yet, so I have to go shopping today and through the rest of this week, and then knock it all out. But really, it's just gonna be, like, for them, clothes because they only want a Nintendo Switch, the new one,
Mhm.
2 games. Between the
Oh,
2 of
we
them, that's
can't
all they
say
want.
this out loud. I can't say this out loud.
That's we can bleep it out. But
Bec
that is what
For
it is.
for me, so in India growing up, Christmas was there, but then it was not my festival.
Mhm,
So, we would always have the raisin cake. I mean, we had so I grew up in an army family, army background-ish,
mhm,
right? So we had people of all faiths in our circle, all religions, all languages, which was very interesting growing up because you never knew what was going to come out of one person's mouth. Um, we would talk in a language and then we would curse in another language.
mhm,
So it was always interesting, but the bottom line being that towards the end of fall would be Diwali, Christmas, all the festivals would line up during that time. So we would just get gifts, but it would not come to us. And my mom was a doctor, so we didn't have a holiday
mm,
unless the school broke out.
okay, that makes sense, actually.
And my grandparents showed us affection by cooking us food, like really good food.
Mhm,
And our fall festival happens in January. So Christmas was not a thing. So I always wanted to have a Christmas tree growing up, right?
mm,
And because I would see the stars outside the homes and
yeah.
I would see the mass happening. And even though I've attended church and things like that, I never actually had Christmas as my holiday. So when I did grow up, I did want a Christmas tree, and that never happened until I had kids.
So do you have a big tree? Do you have a real tree, a fake tree? And is it big or small?
So interesting things. My husband, um, he grew up in a much, much more um, religious family than I did. And for him, Christmas was not a thing at all.
Mhm.
But he went to Catholic school, he went to Catholic college.
Oh, so
So
it
he was
became
aware of Christmas, but it
right.
was not a thing. So when we got married, I said, I want a Christmas tree. And he said, oh, let's just go to the city. They have a big tree there. So we would go to Rockefeller and that would be our Christmas tree.
Oh,
Because I mean,
so not in the house.
no, not in the house. It drops pine needles and then we have to clean it all up. That was not my thing. Um, and to be honest, both of us didn't have the time for it,
Yeah, I can see that.
right? So when we had kids, we bought like a nice fake tree that was really nice,
Mhm.
and the kids grew up with it until we came to our home and we bought a home and I planted like 400 Christmas trees. So now we get to just choose which tree you want to decorate around the house.
That's awesome.
So
But do you bring the tree inside
that's
at
the thing
all?
for Christmas. So every time my husband asks, "What am I getting for Christmas?" I'm like, "You don't believe in Christmas, but you're welcome to pick out the tree you want to decorate." That's his gift. But no, we are gift givers. My husband is a very bad gift giver, but um my kids are learning how to give gifts. They're learning how to be they're very thoughtful as people, but they're learning how to give gifts. And I think I'm just so glad that they got that from me
Yeah, yeah,
because you don't want to raise up crusty boys who don't know how to give gifts.
yeah. I do notice that, my kids want to give gifts too, I think because they can
Yeah.
feel Then when we
Yeah.
give them gifts, like, so they try to give us gifts, and it's reminiscent because they don't have any money to give us gifts with, so they come up with something, they're like, "Um, I would like," and it's so sweet because it's like, "You don't have to give us anything," but you can tell that it's in their heart, like, they are compelled.
Yeah.
The way that if you had it like the way cats, like, bring in, like, they hunt and you're like, "Ah," like, the owner's like, "No, don't give me a bird," or, like, whatever, but it's like they mean well, and you're, like, screaming at this poor gift, they're like, "I was trying to do something nice," you know? So it's like when your kid does that, you wanna be like, "Oh, thank you," like, "Thank you for trying to come up with something to give
Yeah.
to me," right? So I it's in their soul and their natural heart to do it, so I like that about that. So the other way we do it is when we go on Disney Cruise Lines, well, there's this thing called fish extender, groups. So
Mhm.
it starts in, like, a Facebook group, and then because the cruise pages every cruise ship has a Facebook group that starts. And then those guests that join that group can also join a fish extender group, which is basically like a Secret Santa type of vibe, but it's not Christmas related. It's just cruise related and Disney related in particular. So it's like usually a group of 10. And so I was like, oh, this is another way I like the idea of giving gifts that aren't for Christmas or birthday, but it's the act of giving gifts to learn how to give gifts. I think I
Mm.
thought of it like that because growing up, I didn't really have that. My parents were always like, "Don't buy me anything," because they were thinking that was the kindest thing, was like, "Don't spend your money." So then there was a lot of just not giving gifts when you should be giving gifts, and so that wasn't really taught. Like, I saw them give gifts to their clients, but they didn't really give gifts to us. Like, they meant to give gifts, but we were giving it to ourselves. Again, so you see how, like, it's not like it was just not so sometimes I can be really like, oh, it can be really hard for me if I don't know the person well, if I have to, like, how do I come up with something? Um, and so I do have a tendency to buy gifts, like, same day sometimes for people as opposed to, like, having thought ahead. But they're usually happy with the gift I get them, but it's almost like a pressure, like high pressure, like, almost like if you have an assignment for school and, like, you couldn't get it done until the last moment, it's like that, like, it's not like I wasn't thinking about it. It wasn't like I wasn't thinking
Mhm.
about this paper, but it didn't kick in for some reason
Until that
until
moment.
the pressure got it, and then all of a sudden, "Okay, this is what I know." It clears all the noise, otherwise there's too many options. Like, "Which option? What am I gonna write about? How am I gonna" it's like, "You don't have time now, like, figure it out," and then you like, and then it's like, boom, best thing is right in front of you, right? So it's kinda like for me, like, I'm very good at throwing a child's birthday party. It's terrible. I'm the worst at throwing a party for adults to enjoy their time. I think I throw the most boring, weird, awkward. Like everybody's friendly. They're there to be there to support, but for a party for like me, I don't know how to throw a party for me. That's like fun.
I don't know if I've attended one of your parties.
I don't throw them anymore because I first of all I have major anxiety that people are going to show up. And then I don't know how to like so I only threw parties when I had before the kids came. Once the kids came, I only threw birthday parties for the kids. So if you know me after meeting me with my kids, then you know me as a birthday party thrower, but I've never thrown a party for myself or really for Eric since we've had children. Prior to that, all of those parties were just like our friends that like were childless friends. But like this is like like at your house, you're just like it's just food, like you're talking, it's like it's very supportive
Yeah.
but it's not like the same vibe as when you throw a kid's birthday party, the energy of, like, how exciting and all the components, like, gift bags
Everything
and
is possible. That who has boys' moms, I've seen everything is possible in a kid's birthday party. Um, that's so interesting though. So you grew up without the thing of gift giving except for holidays.
yeah, and kind of birthdays, kind of.
Mm.
But they
I
my
I I don't think I ever got gifts outside of birthdays and holidays.
yeah, so, like, in, like, American culture, when you or maybe not just American, but this is where I've seen when you go to somebody's house and then you give them a gift for hosting. So then that's the
Yeah, that's
3rd
rich
way.
people vibes.
Yes. But that's the only other way that I've seen gift and when I throw a party, especially in New York, because it's so hard to get from
Yeah.
place to place, not everybody has a car. We had a car towards later, but there's a long time where we didn't have a car. So I am always cognizant of people having no transportation to have to carry like a potluck. I would
Things.
never make a potluck happen in New York because I would never expect you to carry all that crap with you. It's my party, I'll host it, right?
Yeah.
So same like I would never expect someone to bring a gift to me because I'm like, "Oh my god, I didn't throw a party for you to have to bring to work. Like, no, don't, please don't ever feel. And same, I'll be like, you don't need to write me a thank you card. I totally know how it is. But I
See, that
realized,
that that's something that I actually would like.
no,
A
but
handwritten thank you, a
yeah,
handwritten note of any kind beats any gift any day.
I did that for the first 3 years of the birthday parties. I would handwrite all the thank you notes for all the gifts. And then eventually I was like, just by the way, to the moms, I'd be like, by the way, you don't have to give me a thank you note because I know how it is. They're like, oh, thank you so much. So then you start to strip it away, but then again, you lose it all again.
Yeah.
Because it's the act of doing, even though it's like easy to say you don't have to, once you strip it all away, you also lose that thing which connects you outside of a transactional thing because of work, because
Mhm.
of some kind of obligatory whatever. So there's something to be said about the art of gift giving because it really is an art. When
It
you
is
get
an
it
art.
right, you're like,
Yeah.
I got it right.
Yeah.
But then like I don't expect people, if you're I'm happy with the gift card because it's nice to give a gift. It's great to give a gift. Like it's nice to receive a gift. Have I gotten gifts before that were like I don't that's the only thing I don't like is when people purposely give gifts to hurt your feelings. That's not cool. That's when I think that's
Who
like
does that?
I've seen it at like work corporate offices where like the boss is trying to be passive aggressive to
Really?
yeah, and then give him a t-shirt that says something super mean.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen
That's
it.
not cool.
Yeah, that's why
That's
the
not
toxic
nice.
work environments, like
I'm just happy I haven't come across people like that.
oh, yeah, I've come across
Ever.
like that. Yeah, it happens.
Ever. Um, I'm just trying to think, the best gifts that I've received, handwritten notes, gift of time, which could mean even, dates or coffee dates or just catching up with people after their work or making the time for someone because I travel so much.
Mm,
And it's not always that you are with your friend in the same city. So when you travel, you know, you're obviously making allowances for that friend's
mhm,
schedule to be free or open up for even like a 45-minute catch up session
right,
after many years. So that is always precious to me. When people make time for me, I feel very nice.
yeah,
When people make notes for me, I feel very nice. When people get their kids to make notes for me, as you have done, I feel very nice. um, but yeah, I think that's the best gift, to be honest. Not that I don't appreciate the material stuff, I do.
yeah, well, one time it was really funny. I put it on Instagram because I was so embarrassed. I got Eric a travel steamer, and I was so proud of this because I knew, like, we would use it because he has his suits for, like, court, whatever, and then what did he give me? The Louis Vuitton twist bag, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is not the same, like, at all," and I felt
It's bad.
so it was like, "Oh my god," like, so practical versus so, like,
Mm, well, it is well, it's both of them are gonna be used.
yeah, but it was so funny because then when I posted, I had comments underneath, "This reminds me of the time when I bought my husband a spoon, and he got me a MacBook Pro." And I was like, like, funny, like, "Oh my god, I've done this too," like, "Oh my god." And it's just, like, the most hilarious kind of real
I
moment.
know.
It's, like, so funny.
But you know what? I think that's also the mental space where we are at that contributes to it. Um, because I've seen husbands do the other thing too, where they don't get their wives anything, and
Yeah,
then suddenly they're flummoxed um with having to get something for their wives because the wives have got them something so nice. So funny thing. My husband and I have two anniversaries, right? We the first one that comes in is not considered an official anniversary because it's not the time when all our family were together. But the second one was when all the families were present, and then the wedding actually happened, and things like that. So he always considers the latter to be the main anniversary date and not the first one. But I don't think that's the reason. I think he always almost forgets the first one. The first year we woke up, I looked at him very dreamily and I said, "Happy anniversary, baby." And then his eyes went from smiling to wide eyed, doe like, considering the fact that he had forgotten our anniversary. In all fairness, we were residents, we didn't have money for gifts or anything like that. So there was, none of that stuff happening anyways. But he did write me a very beautiful song. So yeah, all said and done.
Well, you have a very healthy relationship. I mean, it's not like I never have to worry about like, we
Well,
would
that's
not be able.
because I married my best friend.
Yeah, like, we both picked very well, like, extremely well in terms of people that, like, take care and
Yes.
aren't competitive against our success, like, they're not threatened by
Yes.
our. I think that's the main thing is that they're not threatened by our
I
success.
think they're very secure in who they are
Yeah, and but
without
they're also
having
very
to
successful.
overshadow. Yeah.
It's also easier. I mean, if they were, I don't know that if they, like, hadn't achieved, like, it would be the same dynamic, who knows, right? It's easier to
I
say
think
because 'cause they're both successful, right, but there was a
yeah,
time when I was
I
definitely
think
more
it
successful, so,
I think it's just easier when they are much more comfortable with who they are
yeah,
without having the need to take away from your shadow or take away from your spotlight.
yeah,
I know you and Eric, you were on a reality show, right?
yeah,
And Eric was there with you.
yeah.
And when you go back and watch that footage, you can see nothing but support
Yeah, yeah, totally.
from Eric.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's, even now when there's photos at, like, weddings and stuff, people are like, "He always looks like your bodyguard or, like, Secret Service. He's just, like, stoically there protecting you, making
he's just
sure."
there.
Like, making
He's
sure
just
but everybody knows, like, you're being protected, like, you're not, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty funny. I was like, "Oh, yeah," and I'm like, "Oh, that's true."
I mean, he was in the military, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, but it's funny though, it's like, "Oh, yeah," in his, like, suit and his sunglasses or his, like he's just, like, chilling.
yeah, Carl and I don't have the same presence. We are just the goofy ones. We prank around the entire family. We're the youngest. It's so funny because he's the youngest sibling in his whole family, and I'm the oldest girl in my family. So for us, it's like a weird dynamic, but we get away with a lot of pranks.
I mean, I think that works out because 'cause I'm also the oldest and he's the youngest.
Yeah.
There's maybe
I think you
something that
just have
works
to
out
let
like
it
that.
roll.
Yeah, maybe that works out because you're not like one can be has is used to leading and the other is
Yeah,
used to not having to lead because they were by default just being the baby or whatever. But doesn't mean that they don't lead. It just means that they know how to
just
relinquish
sit back.
control. Yeah, and
Yeah.
not in a threatening, vindictive way. Because some people have to do it and they feel like they're forced to release control and they start plotting because they're mad versus people that release control and like, "Oh, thank God I get a break." Like, I love not to have if somebody can take over, I'm so glad.
God, now that you say this, you know what Karthik's biggest gift to me is?
Mm,
His social skills. He is such a good he is so good in diverse crowds. I I I honestly have no words for it. He can talk to anyone and everyone and still make friends like, 7 friends in per minute kind of person. Whereas I would probably look them up and down and size them up and be like, I don't even know why you're talking to me. I don't think I'm that interesting. But for between the two of us, I host and he does the talking. And that is so much more easier than me having to do
both.
the whole social
Yeah.
stuff because I honestly get drained out.
See, I think I am the talkative one between the 2 of us.
No, it's not about the talkative
He's a good
one.
host, though. He's a good host, though. That's probably where, I think you just figured out what I need to do. He needs to host, and I need to do the talking, the
Talking.
socializing during the event, and he does all the hosting stuff, which has actually happened before, that now I come to think of it, because I remember all my friends going, "Look at him putting all the hors d'oeuvres into the oven and making cookies." I was like, "Oh, yeah," so that I can, like, hang out with all of you, you know?
Be Miss
And so, but I think
Congeniality.
that is what happened. I guess you're right. So that's how it does actually end up working well in our household. So, yeah, because we're actually just talking this morning about like throwing a party here, and
Oh, you
we
told me
normally
you
have the parties out. I always love outsourcing party stuff.
yes.
Love it. But our kids want to have the party at our house because they love this house, and they're like, this is a perfect house to entertain. How are we not? I'm like, okay, fine. So we figured out this like schedule for parties for this year. We got kind of shamed too, like, because it's kind of been a while. Like, we haven't had a housewarming party yet. I mean, it's kind of time. And I was like, did we just get shamed by our own children? Like, that's so funny. So now I'm like really thinking about, okay, how am I gonna get this done? What are we gonna do? Like, you want to do a birthday party? Like, then we'd have to come up with, like, you don't want to go to a place?
No,
No,
Kathy,
we don't
just
do it.
host a party. Just host a party. You're a fantastic host.
Okay, well, excuse me. Yeah. So
Thank
I'm
you.
trying to think like lawn games. Like, what do I do for kids to be entertained at this place?
Don't worry about the kids. The kids are fine. The kids will host themselves and they will entertain themselves. That's the long leash that we hand out, and we're like, 11.
Yeah. So I just gotta come up with, like, chafing dishes, serving dishes, layer like, levels, and what kind of flower arrangements and all that stuff in my brain to make, like, it look appropriate versus when I was, like, there's this thing called
Do
a
you feel like one of those women in Los Altos now?
I'm trying. I'm, like, literally channeling what I could remember from my childhood and
You
seeing
know,
people up.
there's something to be said about rich women who host those kind of parties
Yeah.
and who plug that goal into our brain that this is the way you should be living life.
Like, when you grow up,
Right? Yeah,
this is what a grown-up looks like.
yeah. This
Yeah.
is what goals look like. This is what houses look like. This is what homes look like. This is
Yeah.
what dinner parties look like. Like,
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. And now this is the thing about my life that's kind of, like, full circle, is a lot of these people are starting to pass. So I'm going home for funerals now, memorial services and things like that. So it's full circle moments because now I've risen up to that point where they were, and now it's
mm,
my turn to do all this stuff for my community, and now I'm closing out for them. So it's very interesting now, like, I have my gymnastics coach just passed away. So I have had all morning this morning, I've been getting messages from different people asking to help try to get photos and videos of the coach because his family wants to do it for the memorial video. And then he was, a teacher or substitute teacher for 40 years at our high school, and he's the winningest coach for CCS history for gymnastics. He also coached tennis. So we have, like, decades of kids that are now adults that were mentored and loved, and we were all safe. We all felt we were never safer. So I had a very safe gymnastics
childhood.
journey, yeah. And so we're all coming back, that he was that important, that all of us are coming back. So it's gonna be very interesting, like, gathering of for all of us to sort of remember our anchors. And
Mm,
also in the state of how the world is today, I actually did not experience there was maybe one specific, but even that turned itself around into, like, a very supportive group of people. But I had almost no racism situations growing up, except for just one specific one that, like, it was a learning one, but it wasn't, like, as negative as, like, what you're hearing today in the world. Nothing like that. This is all, like, growing pains that I went through, and
mm.
then everything in the environment that I was around, it was a very diverse environment, very altruistic, very educated, the beginning of Silicon Valley, the beginning of all, it's like from apricot orchards into tech, high tech. And so it's a much different understanding. Plus, we lived near Moffett Field, which was like NASA. But,
Mhm.
like, so my military affiliations growing up were all positive. Only when I went to San Diego was it, like, The military isn't always positive kind of thing in like the way that they handle themselves. So it was an interesting thing to and then to marry into the military, then become a member of the military community for a long time. It was an interesting thing to see all that, but then also have this anchor of rich people shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have when especially if you come from
Goals.
countries when you like because we also come from other countries where those countries had to find their growing pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we come from also means and privileged and educated people from those countries. But our perspective is so big. Like we know so much about how things intertwine that a lot of people don't understand how they intertwine and why they are important and how we have to understand why they work together. You know, like
Yeah.
I feel like we probably through travel and everything have been able to educate people about where we've come from. Like when I go overseas and I have to educate people about America and how what they think America is and what it really is. Is it really all about guns? Like my Australian cousins think that we all carry guns everywhere. But then when they're like, but then sure enough, of course, I was like, that must be silly. But then one of them goes, but then I went through an airport in Austin or Houston, and sure enough, there's guys checking in their guns. And I'm like, it's real. But if you come from a society with no guns,
Right.
right? But that's the thing, like that. I'm like, yeah, there are like if you go to Disneyland Paris, it's a small world. The depiction of Americans is like we're all farmers. It's really funny. But we don't know that because in our It's a Small World, we don't depict America. But you start to go, "Oh, yeah, never really thought about the way that others perceive us."
Americans?
Yeah. Not until you're an American, you have to live overseas, do you then get that perspective. So when we were transported and lived in Japan, then I got to have those conversations a lot. But when you're in the bubble of America, you don't really think you're so engulfed in your American life
Mm,
and our American news. We don't, like BBC is like so different than like when you go traveling, you watch BBC and CNN,
yeah.
it's about the whole world. But in America, it's only about
Yeah.
America.
But here's the thing. I didn't grow up in America.
I know. That's why you have such a
I
good.
For me, the whole perspective of America comes from sitcoms and TV and Seinfeld. And the global perspective of the British comes from BBC, or something similar to that. Russian TV, no clue. But the for me, global perspective really doesn't come from other people's perspective. It just comes from travel.
Yeah, I totally agree because I know my first time I left America was I was 11,
Okay.
and I remember going to Vietnam when I was 12 and seeing and every time we flew overseas, there was a layover, we would stay there for, like, 2 nights. So I never, just, like, did an hour layover or 3-hour layover with my family. We would stay in that country, so we'd always get to know another country. So it
Mm,
always made me understand, like, travel was about expanding your knowledge about different
mhm.
places, and I always understood right away what it feels like to, like, you don't know anything. If you don't speak the language, you're walking that feeling of helplessness, the more you can get it, the better you are as a
Traveling
person.
and books. Traveling and books,
Yeah.
they really expand your horizons to different limits where you're forced to see things through other people's perspective. That and food.
Yeah, food I think food is, like, the best olive branch. It feels like that's the thing that unites people. So, like, even ICE agents, right? As much as they don't recognize that, like, this is so ironic, they eat Mexican food for lunch all the time. On their lunch breaks, they're in their ICE gear and they go in and get Mexican food, and I'm like,
How
"How?"
did the conversation come to this?
But you know what I'm saying? Like food can like if you're like let's talk about food. Like I always say when people if people that want segregation really want segregation, they shouldn't be able like that group of white people that opened up all white only place in Arkansas. I was like, okay, fine. If you want to do that, that also should mean that like you can't have any spices from any country outside that's outside like
Outside of salt and pepper?
Nothing. Yes, you can't because you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you honestly believe that
No,
this is the way,
some good
then
food.
do it. Then do it. So then remove yourself completely. You get no access to any of this stuff because the reality is that's a life that cannot exist. That does not exist. That reality they want does not exist. Period.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Well, I mean, you can make it exist. We can make it for you, but you have to actually buy. If you're buying into it, then buy into it.
Yeah.
No trade with anybody outside. Nothing created outside. That's the way it would work. If that's how you feel, nothing outside of your. That's it.
How do you hear these crazy things?
These
I've
are the
never even
news.
heard of it.
Oh my God, I'll send you the
Um,
links.
what was I gonna say? So here's the thing. You're right about food because food was the one thing that would actually bring my team together. When I used to work in remote areas, right? We would have few of the local people who would be, in our general service. They would act as our bodyguards. They would take us around. They would show us the place. They would help us load and unload stuff. They would help us translate the local language, talk to the people involved, and things like that. And then I would have my staff. And my staff, we would have we would have to travel together. So, we had a common language, which was mostly either English or French, and
Yeah,
we would almost always be professionals.
right.
So it was easy to bond. But then with the local people, it was always like a iffy, we don't really know where we're going. And teams have failed because they have refused to inculcate or acclimatize themselves to the local area. And what I used to do was the first night I would, get to know everyone. The second and third and fourth night, we would actually sit down for dinner. And I think that is such a good neutralizer because everyone at that table was someone who was working their best to help us achieve a cause that we were all united in.
Yeah,
And there was always food on the table that we had to eat.
yeah.
It didn't matter where you were from, you just had to eat it. Yeah, we're not talking like Michelin star chefs. It might be even just bread and butter and,
Yeah,
things like that. Because at the end of the day, you are going into a really vulnerable situation, which looks like the end of the world.
right.
And there are still people there who need help. So it didn't matter what we were eating, you just had to eat it and make conversation. So that was the end goal of that. But I think almost every mission that I've gone on has been successful because of that.
Yeah. I think it's the one unifier
Yeah.
because it's hard to hate somebody if you're starving and they feed you, it's hard to hate them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I think we grew up with the same essence as children too,
like,
right? Asian, Southeast
oh
Asian,
yeah.
food was like such a huge deal. Like if they were not friends or family, there's a very, very low chance that they would be sitting at your dinner table.
Well,
If
I
they
think
were
also it
invited. I mean,
poverty.
I'm not talking about the weird uncle whose family, but we've all had those. But yeah, like if they didn't know your grandparents or if they didn't know your family really well, there was a very, very low probability that they were invited for festivals and in your home.
Yeah, I mean, generally, like, my mom and dad met because they were, like my uncle and my mom were on the same national ping pong team. They were, like, they were on the national team. So, they all knew my dad's family compound was,
Mm.
like, the ping pong gathering place for that kind of thing. So, then that was where and then there's a lot of food because I see the way they all hang out. Can't do this. I'm not capable of doing this. I'm trying, but this is like major effort. Whereas for the rest of my family, it comes very naturally. Just gathering and like a lot of food being made. Everybody's in their kitchen. I remember just it's just part of it. But because I didn't grow up with that culture because my mom was working all the time, I just grew up in a house with like bean and cheese
Yeah.
burritos from Costco that we would, like,
No,
heat
it
up.
it it helps if everyone is pitching in.
Yeah, everybody would pitch in. I just
Yeah.
remember everybody's hands just busy working, making, washing, chopping, you know,
Steaming, cooking,
yeah, rolling thing, like,
doing
just a lot of
things.
stuff like that. But, I remember also seeing the guys not doing that, so I was like, "Wait." Like, that was I remember really being like, this is not right."
In all honesty, my kitchen was not big enough for the guys to come in and help or
Yeah,
cook
yeah,
or wash up, and they would just get under all our feet.
yeah.
So I think that was the excuse at least that was given to me for my brothers not helping out. But it
Oh, I'm
doesn't.
talking about the husbands, I'm not even talking about my brothers. I'm not talking about my
Brothers,
husband.
husbands, uncles, grandparents, I don't care what their nomenclature was. I thought it was very weird growing up, but it wasn't that weird for the rest of them because
Right,
their parents would not work.
right.
Or rather, they grew up with a woman in the family not working.
Mhm,
So for them, it was much more common.
right.
Um, but what has been, okay, as a host, since you have shared the fact that people have to pitch in,
Mhm.
what has been the most disastrous event or the most hilarious event that happened while you were hosting a dinner party that made you think never again?
Um,
You're
very
generous with your
we
time, you're generous with your effort, you're generous with your space, you're generous with your table,
well, I can tell you.
and then someone does something that's like,
Oh, I haven't had anything like that. I only had a situation where Eric and I accidentally both threw surprise parties for each other on the same weekend. Yeah. Same group of people too. And they were like, it was that after it all came out, they were like laughing about how like they had to keep track of which one was whose birthday or whose surprise party for the other. Just hilarious. So freaking hilarious. I was like, you cannot be serious. And so, yeah, so then once it was like we had to something, some date had to change so they would look like it was another one. Because once somebody
mm,
realized it, they had to make it seem like a surprise party. So oh, I know, mine was second. So he had to make it seem like mine was planned. So then I came home a day early, or like I came home the day before the actual party's planned, and that's when everybody was there. Just so that it would be a surprise, because then I had gone from wanting a surprise party to having wanting a regular party, but they were still gonna throw me a surprise party. And then I had thrown him a surprise party before me. So it wasn't that, so that's what it was. So I had thrown him a surprise party, then he decided to throw me a surprise party, but then I decided I didn't want a surprise party, and then he still threw me a surprise party. So it was, and then it was confusing to everybody because they had to go to like they had 3 different invitations with
everyone
their
was like, just
nanny.
surprise,
Yeah.
you're here again.
And then I learned that neither of us likes surprise parties because one, when he came home, everybody could tell, oh, he wanted to come home to like a quiet house, and they were all here. And he couldn't hide from his face. He goes, yeah, I got him. And everybody was cracking up. And then for mine, I was not dressed. Like I didn't look, I'd come home from like my friend had taken us out for a spa day and then come home and I'm like not dressed
With
and
the soft face.
I'm just like, oh no. So then I had doing the whole party just like
Yeah,
I didn't go change or anything. I just was
or
like,
natural.
so then I realized I like to mentally prepare for a party. I need to mentally prepare for a party. And I would rather be prepared than unprepared for a party. As much as a surprise party is nice, I would like to be prepared
Yeah.
for the party. So I think we're both like that. So we learned that about ourselves. That would be the most disastrous. But everybody was like our crew. So like it was funny. But then, it was just one of those realizations like you don't know about yourself sometimes. And you learn about yourself and you're like learning in real time. It's really funny. When you're like, oh, I thought I would like surprise
Well,
parties,
now
but
you
maybe I
know.
yeah. Not like you hate them, but just like you realize, oh, I want to control this, and this. So I can make sure this runs right. But then like the whole time the party, there's like, oh, this I would have like, oh shoot, I should have done that. Like, you know what I mean? So then I was like frazzled. I was thinking about all these other things instead of that I was
Instead
having,
of being present in the moment
yeah.
and just enjoying the party
Yeah, the
for
party was
what it
nice and
was.
everything. It was just I learned something about my own brain.
You have to let go, Kathy. You have to let go. I
Yeah,
used to
I
do
think I
that
would have rather
too.
had, like, if I had gone and got my makeup done, like, it was like, "Oh, you're getting your makeup done, you're getting your hair done," and then you come home and you're done. Not, like, come home and you're, like, stripped raw and you're like, "What's wrong?" And you're all super relaxed and, like, your brain is, like, not in that headspace to be because 'cause you've just been completely relaxed out.
That's the thing. I think the headspace is the most
It was the
important thing for
headspace.
me in a party.
Yeah.
When they're not in the right headspace and they still, so I've had that encounter where I've never been thrown a surprise party, probably because my husband knows I would hate it. But also I think there are certain elements. It's not about control, it's about being in the right headspace for certain individuals in your life.
And just the
Because
energy. If you're like
yeah,
me, I'm a
like if
total
they sap the energy out of the room,
right.
right? Or if you get the wrong people with the wrong people,
Yeah, oh,
there
yeah,
is
so I
no
don't tend to throw
there
parties
is
where
no
I don't
wrong.
converge everybody. I
No.
will usually have multiple parties,
Yeah.
and I think I don't know if I'm glad to know
No,
I'm
you're
not the
not the
only
only
one
one. I
because
do
I
that
thought
too.
okay, because I thought there was something wrong with me because I was like, it's not like I don't want my friends to meet each other, but I'm trying to hang out with this intentionally, hang out with you guys intentionally.
No,
Like,
the
if I hang out with
conversation
all of you,
flows so much more naturally.
you can't all hang out together because I won't be able to, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I have, like, different people. I've never thrown one huge party, so I'm thinking maybe my 50th, I would have to do a but I don't know how I would do it. And my thought is something that I don't think anybody wanna do is to have it at Disney because they will just do it well, and I don't have to think about it. But
Kathy,
everybody else
when
would
you
be like,
throw your 50th, I want to be invited
"Of course you're gonna be
just
invited.
because I want to meet the other people in your life.
Of course." So I'll have a 50th party just for everybody to meet each other.
Yes, because I know about friends of yours whom I've never met who are supposed to be really good friends of yours, and I'm like, "Oh, but she's your best friend in your Disney trip. I'm your best friend in this world, and
Right,
we all
right,
have our
right,
separate worlds."
right.
Uh, it's like it's like switching on, you know, reality goggles and going, "This is my world. This is my space.
Yeah,
This is where I get to call you my best friend."
yeah,
But more than that, I think you're so right. Like I host multiple parties. Even if I'm celebrating just one event, I host multiple parties because I don't think. Well, it started off with the fact that firstly we didn't have the space to host so many people,
right.
but more importantly, I think the conversation just flows so much better if the right people are in the room than um, the other way around.
I mean, I remember one time in college, I used to have all these I was a big college party thrower.
Oh yeah.
But those are different types of parties, right? So I remember though one time having like different crews of friends, and then when I would combine them, there would be fights that would break out. And generally be guys that were territorial over our friendship or something. And I was like, what
Uh-uh.
is happening? We're not even romantically dating. I was like, what is happening right now? We're not even
Mhm.
together. I'm not dating anybody here. What is this tension? But then it was just like sometimes you just don't have chemistry between people, and it just
Yeah.
ignites into a powder keg. So then I think that was the beginning of me realizing, like, you can only invite certain people to certain things, and you like
Yeah.
I used to even be like, "Well, you would like this party," and then, "Well, no, where are you going? Because I wanna go where
Mm.
you're going." And I go, "Oh, if you wanna go where I'm going to this party, but I don't know if you would like that party that I'm going to as much as I think I know you would like that party." Like, it's like that it's like this weird thing that I'm trying to hang out with you. And I was like, "Oh, sorry." So, like, that was how it started in college, but then that's like those numbers are large when you're hanging out and people call you just know people from so it's like 30 people in this crew, 20 that's different where you can't bring everybody together. So when I would have a house party, oh my god, I had a house party that was so big one year that I had strangers charging at my party because my party was so
Oh
huge.
my God. Yeah. I've been to parties like that.
Yeah.
I've been
I
to
had some
parties like that where I've known like three people and they have known three other people, and but then there'd be like 75 people sitting in the house.
oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
The human parties were always like that. But I honestly don't think, to be honest, I don't think my husband has even met all my friends.
When would you have your big milestone birthday? When and where?
I It'll probably be at home and it'll be a spa day for myself.
Yeah, see,
I'm not
that's usually how I do my birthday, but I feel like, okay, I have to throw at least one party where I actually invite because I have not thrown a birthday
See,
party for
I
myself in,
I
like,
used
20
to
years.
be like that. I used to be like that and want like a big birthday cake and everyone to give me gifts and things like that. But then as I've grown older, I've realized that peace so much more better.
Well, I also feel like I don't wanna work on my birthday, and I feel like if you host a party, you're working because you gotta work the room, you gotta make sure everybody's like so I'm like, "Oh, I'm
It's so
exhausted from
much
my
of
own birthday
emotional
party."
labor. Even if you're not doing the physical labor, there's so much of emotional labor that goes into making sure that everyone is okay in a different place and different time. Um, and obviously with the kid situation, it just gets right.
Yeah,
Because I don't know about you, but I have friends who absolutely want nothing to do with kids. And then I have kids, and then I have friends who have like baby kids. So that is like absolutely no go.
yeah.
I had one friend who would keep inviting a mutual friend of ours who wanted nothing to do with kids over for their kids' birthday parties. And I was like, you need to stop this. You're not gonna come. You need to stop this. You need to stop inviting. Because that's true, right? Like you are so much more as an individual than just as a parent. But yeah, as I've grown older, I've just realized that peace, nothing beats peace.
Yeah. Well, it's also like there's it was so I was thinking about deactivating my Facebook account
No.
because Facebook, turned on the records of somebody from Nebraska and got her arrested for having an abortion. So then I was thinking about deactivating it because of that. And then I had somebody basically, like, plead with me to stay on, and she made such a good case, I was like, "Alright, I'll reconsider." Because it was like, there's so much, misinformation. I provide a lot of,
Mm.
good information, and, she can keep touch and we don't really hang out, but she gets to, like, see how my life is going with my kids and everything, and she enjoys it. She is, like, one of the ambassadors to Jamaica, and she's an actress and stuff like that. So we have very different lives, but, when I was in fashion doing Oscar giftings, she came and helped, so that's how we know each other, and then we've have done all this other stuff, but, like, she's like, "I still would love to, like, know what's happening in your life, like, I don't if you're gone, I'll never see you again." And I was kinda like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And so then I was like, "All right, let me think about it." And so I'm kind of feeling it out. I'm feeling it out because, like, right now, all the stuff that I know about my high school, I would not know if I wasn't on Facebook. So that's why I'm like, okay,
It
I would
has its
be more Facebook.
benefits.
Yeah. So I might have to stay on. And I feel like Facebook is where the wisdom is, you know, Gen X and stuff.
As much as you don't wanna say it.
It's true. It is. A lot of
Yeah.
like Gen Xers are on there and it might be old compared to like in social media, but that's where the wisdom really
I
is.
don't even do you remember Orkut?
No. I was on
The
Friendster.
I don't even know what that is.
Friendster was the very first social media
Oh,
platform,
Friendster.
and then
I
MySpace
remember hearing that.
big.
So Orkut was, pre-Facebook, or as Facebook was coming out in the US, Orkut was the Google version of it or the Android version of it in India, and, that was the platform to be on. Um, but when I moved to the US, I moved to Facebook,
Mhm.
but I don't think I would ever Facebook has thought I was dead.
What? What do you
For a
mean?
couple of because I never came on, I never posted anything about my life. I never did anything that was Facebooky. Um but I was busy rearing children and traveling the world. So eventually they sent me a message asking, "Hey, hello, how are you? Are you alive? And if you
Ah!
are alive, you have like 15 days to reactivate this
That's
link."
funny.
and I had to change my profile picture and things like that. And I was like, okay, um, well, someone's doing the back end job on this, but yeah,
That's funny.
don't go off Facebook. I mean, you don't have to go off Facebook. You can still like be in touch.
Yeah.
Like,
It is the easiest way to stay in touch for me too. So I will. I'll probably stay on because there's been good reasons that have been showing me why I need to stay on. That I would definitely be like, I would definitely want to know about things happening in my community and home that I'd want to be
yeah,
a part of. So that's one of the main reasons as well. And I can understand, like, social media has always been actually a very positive place for me when I was going through, like, sad stuff. I got a lot of support on there, so I feel like it's not bad, it's not all bad. You can be very positive, it can be very supportive, so I'm okay with staying on. I'm really worried about my private messages then, if they can turn it into a government that isn't, like, honest, and they can use your words against you, that makes me a little nervous, so I'll probably be, like, rethinking my messenger usage, I see.
mhm,
But, it does show you about the interconnectivity in the world today and how
it does.
it
It
really
does.
it's not as easy as just like, "I'm just gonna stop." Alright, so I think we can wrap it up. Let's see, any parting thoughts for today? Are we the only ones that are telling our kids that there's no Santa by the time they turn 11? Are we the only ones that don't really like to
You think
throw
so?
parties, but feel like we got to sometimes?
I think there we might be the only ones who don't. Oh my
But do it
God,
anyway?
emotional overload of parties. Um, no, I think we are the only ones who are not afraid to have tough conversations
Oh,
with
yeah.
our children or our friends or our business partners about um, anything to do with gift giving or the way we give ourselves. We use discernment for sure. I know you are very discerning about your boundaries. I'm very
Yeah, yeah,
discerning about my boundaries. You have taught me that.
yeah.
Um, but I think we shouldn't be the only ones. But between me and you, I think we might be the only ones.
Well, setting boundaries, I think, in this new age, I think there's also, like, that conversation about Oprah. Did you see that? The podcast, we'll talk about that next time, about cutting
No.
off parents or cutting off your,
Yes,
kids.
that I did say.
Could talk about that next time. So, it's like, are we the only ones that have, boundaries that have to do with
That
sort of, like,
we're not
social
we're
things?
not afraid to be disliked.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Are we the only ones that are not afraid to be disliked?
There you go.
Alright, on that note, give, us a follow on Substack or YouTube or, TikTok or Facebook. And,
We may
Merry
not
Christmas.
respond there, but
Yep, and then I know, right? But yeah, in the season of gift giving, let us know what you are out there giving. What are you giving your kids? Are you giving less? Are you giving abundance? What does the abundance in your house look like? Are you cutting back on abundance? Let us know. Alright, until next time. Thank you.